All right, folks, and welcome back to Procreate. So, the title of this course is Draw, Sketch, Paint, Design on your iPad. So let's go ahead and let's get into some drawing and some sketching. So the very first thing that I always do, I set up my workspace. So what we're going to be making here is we're going to be making this type of cherry blossom. We're going to do a cherry blossom, and because of my tattoo background, we're going to make it kind of stylized into a tattoo style cherry blossom. However, if you're into photorealism, the exact same techniques are going to apply. All right, I always begin by setting up my workspace. So let's go ahead, go to this wrench, and let's go ahead and insert a photo. So I come over here. I got a couple photos that I added for you in the reference from pexels.com. And now, you just come in, insert the photo, and then drop them. I like to drop them on the left-hand side of my workspace. Come up, we'll do another one. We're going to insert a photo. And then we're going to insert this photo. All right. And we're going to shrink that down a little bit. Place it over here. Let's go ahead and place it in this lower right-hand corner. And I think that'll do it. All right, let's look at our layer structure real quick. We've got a couple inserted images, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock those layers to make sure we don't mess with them. Okay. Now, when you do this and you stylize a photo, you're really looking at commonality, right? So when you're sketching, keep your sketches loose. So we're going to look here. Cherry blossoms have 5 petals. So whenever I sketch, I start with my sketching 6B pencil. And I come from a background where we would have to do multiple client sketches. So I tend to work first and foremost in like a light red. I make sure my 6B pencil is selected. And now I'm going to want to add a layer. And I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it Sketch 1. Now, I'm pretty fanatical about naming my layers, so I'm not promising you I'm going to be perfect through the entire course, but you'll see a common theme. All right, let's go ahead and let's draw. They've all got this centerpiece here, right? And then you've got 5 petals. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to sketch these. And I'm just making sure that I've got them kind of in the same order. You know, kind of the same length, that kind of thing. And then each one of these petals kind of has this little divot that comes out of it. So I'm keeping it very loose, very organic. I don't really care what comes in front of what right now. We'll figure that out later. What I'm concerned with is, do I have 5 petals, and do they look kind of similar? Okay, so once you've got an idea for how you want these to really look, you got a rough sketch there, we're going to go ahead, I'm going to click on this N, and I'm going to turn down the opacity. You see right there, it goes to about 50%. Now, I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it Sketch 2. All right, perfect. Now, I'm going to go with a little bit darker. I'm going to go in something maybe in a bluish purple. And now I'm going to take this, I'm going to use my gestures, and I'm going to crank it up a bit. Now I'm going to make my sketches a little bit more, oops, didn't take. All right, I'm going to make my sketches a little bit more deliberate this time. I'm going to look at how the leaves are interacting a little bit. And now I want to add some visual interest to this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a couple leaves in front of another one, right? We're going to make sure we got it figured out here. All right, let's go ahead and zoom out and see how that looks. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to add just a little bit, maybe over here. I want to avoid the fact that this side is showing on each one, so I kind of alternated the sides a little bit. All right, then we kind of go through, sketch that out. All right, so you can go through one more time and you can solidify the layers if you want, but in reality for what I'm doing here, I think we're pretty good. One last thing that I'm going to show you here now. You want to put a little bit of composition to it, and you want to make sure you're on the sketch layer when you do this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a couple motion lines, right, because I want it to show. And then I'm going to add in a few petals just to kind of go through and add a little bit of interest to it when we go into our final piece. And I do this on the sketch layer because you're going to want to have these on your sketch layer. You're not going to want to mess with them in later layers and try to figure it out. All right, folks, that'll start us off on our sketch layer. In the very next lesson, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and lay down our base tones. All right, we'll see you in the next one.